Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tips, Tricks, and Tools, where I give you quick information, short form videos. So I'm wiring up this dash here for this 1953 Lincoln Capri. This thing was pretty technical. I just want to show you a couple tools you could use and a couple tips that you could use here. Now ignore this wiring here, I haven't done that yet, but everything else is done. So we have oil, fuel, lights, blinkers, high beam, 6-volt clock, voltage, all sorts of stuff here. And this is how I like to wire up my dashes, nice and clean. So when I get underneath the dash, when I actually install this in, there's only 2 sets of wires that I have to hook up here. This is a trip reset for the speedometer or the odometer. And then this is the headlights, which I have not wired up yet. So hooking this up is real simple because I wired everything together in its own harness here. Now you have to protect these wires even when they're tight like this. Sometimes you can use this fabric tape that I like to use. It's a electrical tape, fabric tape. It's breathable, it won't hold oil. And if this rubs up against something just from the car vibrating, it's not gonna rub through your wire anytime soon. Anyways, also you can use shrink wrap for loom. So I have a couple of my dash lights come into one connector that I crimped and put shrink wrap on. And I put a big wrap of shrink wrap on it just to protect those wires. And I know what you guys need to know actually is what behind the dash. Right here, there's a big V steel that supports the steering column. So I routed everything over to this side. So it's gonna go on one side of that steering column brace. Also, I like to label all my wires here. Now what I have here is this Brady Label printer. It's really easy, really simple, guys. I'll show you an up close of how that works. But what I did, after I routed all my wires as clean as possible, made myself 2 simple harnesses here that I'm gonna put 2 connectors to plug in this whole dash. I just haven't done that yet, but every single wire here is labeled. So when I go to hook this up into my connector, it's gonna be really quick and easy. So we got fuel sender, oil sender, we have instrument cluster lights, R blink, so right blinker, L blink, left blinker. Then I like to power my gauges individually. So we have oil plus, we have fuel plus. And I put on this one, I put trip reset just so I could have it there when I'm underneath the dash. Sometimes you guys just get dizzy underneath there doing stuff. So I try to make it as simple as possible. Then H beam, high beam indicator. Then over here, all my labels over here, keeping it simple. Volt ground, so that's a symbol for ground. What else do we have? Oh, volt plus, temp plus, clock, which is 6 volt. We have temp sender, then we have cigar lighter. So really simple layout, guys. This is gonna make your stuff way more professional if you do it like this. This is gonna make your life a lot easier. Once we put this up inside the dash and I start actually wiring this in, it's gonna be really easy to make my connectors inside the dash if you're doing it that way. Or this is gonna be nice and organized, so I make my connector out here. Then I replicate the connector in there before I put the dash in. It makes your life way easier. Now, something that you have to think about from down the road. Even though I warranty all my wiring harnesses for life, I warranty all my connections for life, still things happen. Car sits outside for a long time, yada, yada, yada. We need to be able to diagnose our own work, especially if you guys are wiring your own car and you're gonna keep it for the rest of your life. So maybe 20, 30 years from now, you have an electrical issue. Everything's labeled. Everything here in this loom is as straight as I could possibly get it. This blue wire is underneath the white wire all the way down here. This red wire is underneath the blue wire all the way down here. And I try to keep it as straight as possible. So if I'm diagnosing myself through this loom, an issue that I've ran into, it's very easy to follow these wires without cutting this whole thing apart, getting frustrated underneath the dash. So always think about being able to diagnose everything. My wires are longer than they need to be. So if I need to redo any of these connections, I can cut them, shorten them, put a new crimp on there. Like I said, 10, 20, 30 years down the road, you're gonna be able to fix this easy without pulling the whole thing apart and getting really frustrated with it. So check out this label printer. Oh, and then my 6-volt gauges are gonna go off of this voltage reducer. And this sends out 6 volts and this gets hot. So you need to mount it in a safe place underneath. I got this from Vintage Auto Garage. So look up this 6-volt reducer for your 6-volt gauges. Look up this label printer. I'm gonna be using this printer a lot more than just the dash. There's a lot of connections, everything that I put in, relays I put in, they'll be labeled. Fuses on the fuse block, that's labeled there, but then I can also extra label it with my label printer. So you can go crazy with a printer, you know, put it all over the place. So one day down the road when you diagnose it, you'll be happy that you did. So.
All right, so really quick, I'll show you how this works. This is so simple. So let's do volt ground. So we're gonna do VOLT. Then it's shift, ground symbol, print. It's gonna print. I'm gonna push this button to cut the paper. Pull the paper out. And this shows our volt ground. Real simple.
All right, guys, so trying to make these quick and easy for Monday videos. I'll see you on the next one.